I'm back on my journey.
Yo, Shalom. What's happening? It's your Akin Yarika. And today I have a powerful presentation to show you all. It's very powerful and enlightening. Real talk. I just give all praises to the Most High for putting that spirit on me to do so. Also, I want to give them all praises for just revealing this information to me. You understand? I've been working so hard on this, like probably 4 or 5 months now, trying to just put all the information together, see how I was going to go about presenting it and everything like that. And I'm excited. I think that you all will be very intrigued by the end of this video. And as always, anytime I put a presentation out, I tell everybody, look, you be the judge. It's your job to watch this video, look at the information that I'm presenting, go behind me, right? Don't take my word for it. Don't look at what I'm saying and be like, oh, that's right. Nah, you have to do the research. You have to study. You understand? You have to put in that work. So, like I said, go behind me, fact check everything that I'm bringing out. Okay? The Bible says, study to show ourselves approved. Okay? We have to try the spirits, test the spirits. Go behind us, do the research. All that. All right? And also, I want to say this. This is not a doctrine. Okay? I'm not coming to you with another doctrine. I'm not coming to you with something just out of this world. Okay? I already know when some people watch this, you know how people do. Oh, he coming with another doctrine. Oh, false prophet. Oh, doctrine of devils. Oh, no meat doctrine. This is not what that is. Basically, all I'm doing is revealing the information that I've looked into. Okay, I'm providing evidence, scriptural evidence. Okay, and plus, go on my Facebook page. Look at everything that I posted about the health and what comes from eating flesh. Not once have I told anybody to stop eating it. If you want to eat flesh, go ahead and eat it. That's on you and your body. But all I'm doing here is presenting the information, showing you where the Most High never intended for us to do that. Until this day, he doesn't want us to. I mean, come on, just think about it. On my Facebook, people were saying, oh man, that's some good information you're bringing out about the health, brother. But the Most High told us we can eat flesh. He said it's clean. It doesn't make sense. Like, think about it. Eating animal flesh messes up your colon. It gives you all types of diseases and a whole bunch of other stuff. But if you were on an alkaline plant-based diet, herbs, spices, you know what I'm saying, vegetables, fruits, all that, you look better, you feel better, you live longer. I mean, it just makes sense. Yo, it's really not that complicated. It's really not. It's simple. But for real, when I put this video out, hopefully we can build from it. We can build from it, man. Like, everybody claim that they got it all figured out. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody. Not even me. You understand? The Most High say he reveals things to us in part. So I may know something that you may not know. You may know something that I may not know. If we can come together, put our heads together, you reveal to me what you have, I reveal to you what I have. We can build. We can sharpen each other's minds. We can grow. We can elevate. You feel me? We can get on that same frequency, man, that the Most High is on. So, that's how I be thinking. But anywho, without further ado, let's get into it. Part 1 will be about Cain and Abel, the reversing of their roles. Part 2 will be about the law. And I think part 3 is going to be about the angels and the demons and the roles that they play in it. And then last is going to be about Christ and his teachings. Okay. Get your books, get your notes, and be ready to write all this information that I'm about to bring forth down. Because we about to eat. Not literal food, but that spiritual food. Alright? So enjoy the video. Shalom. The church has traditionally taught that Adam's youngest son, Abel, who is depicted as righteous, was a shepherd and that he on a certain occasion killed one of his lambs and presented its fat as a sweet-smelling aroma or savor to the Most High. Cain, on the other hand, is depicted as a farmer who presented an oblation, that is, a bloodless sacrifice, which I'm going to show you later on in the video, which consisted of herbs, vegetables, and grains. Now, according to the scripture, the Most High rejected Cain's sacrifice, but accepted Abel's, with which he was very pleased. Now, of course, the churches of today has not satisfactorily explained just why was Abel's sacrifice accepted while Cain's rejected. Mostly it is argued that the Most High rejected Cain's sacrifice because it was bloodless and an oblation, or it just wasn't a good enough offering. But nothing can be further from the truth. Let us take a closer look at this subject, but with an open and unbiased mind, if at all possible, since from childhood we were indoctrinated with the traditional teaching of the church. The Most High himself says that the original law was corrupted and perverted by the lying pen of the scribes. Jeremiah 8:8. Therefore, it is reasonable to pose a question. Is it possible that here we deal with the lying pen of the scribes, and that the role of Abel and Cain is actually reversed? That is it at all possible that the original and uncorrupted text actually said that Abel presented an oblation and a bloodless sacrifice, while Cain actually slaughtered an animal and presented its fat portions in sacrifice to the Most High? I believe this to be the case, and I also believe that I can give sufficient evidence to vindicate this belief. I will first of all give extra-canonical material and then analyze it in the light of the biblical evidence. Alright, you ready? Let's eat. So before we get into the actual presentation, let me take y'all all the way back to the beginning in Genesis to show you where the Most High established a vegan or vegetarian diet for man and for beast. Okay, I'm taking you here to show you what type of diet the Most High wanted us to have and still wants us to have. All right, so let's go. Let's eat. So here we are in Genesis, the beginning. Okay, my reason for bringing you here is to show you the diet that the Most High gave to Adam and the animals. Okay, so follow me. The two verses I'm gonna focus on will be 29 and 30. Okay, so let's go. Verse 29. And the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you, Adam, it shall be for meat. Okay, so here we see the Most High speaking to Adam, and he's giving him a diet, a vegan or vegetarian diet. I want you to eat the vegetables, the fruits, and the grains. Okay, that is your diet, right? To you, Adam, it shall be for meat. Verse 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. So we see here in verse 30 that he's speaking to the animals, right? He gave the animals a vegan or vegetarian diet. Okay? Fruits, vegetables, grains, the grass, the trees, all of that, right? To be for meat. Now, after reading these two verses, something stood out to me. This word meat. Yes, meat. So before I move forward, let me touch on that. I'm going to keep it a band. We all know that this word has been fooling people for a long, long time. Wherever or whenever you see this word meat in the Bible, it only means food. It doesn't mean what we automatically think it means, which is the flesh of animals. Understand that the word meat is an Old English word for food or vegetables. But flesh is what we think meat is. Again, understand. They got us saying meat. But if we actually said flesh in replace of meat, we'd actually wake up and see how vampirish or zombish we are when we say that word. I mean, come on, just imagine embedding into your brain that you are a flesh eater, that you crave flesh. That many will boldly claim that they'll eat flesh until they die. You see how weird that sounds when you say flesh instead of meat? So the point is to understand that meat does not mean flesh. Alright? And when you see this word meat in the Bible, it does not mean the flesh of animals. Animal sacrifice and eating flesh was injected into the Most High's laws. Yeah, they used that word to further the deception. I'm going to show you. Okay, more on this meat. We are at the online etymology dictionary, okay? Meat. Old English meat. Food. Item of food paired with drink. Let's see here. Narrower sense of flesh used as food is first attested in the 1300s. Similar sense evolution in French viande, however you pronounce that, meat, originally food. In Middle English, vegetables still could be called green meat, 15th century. Figurative sense of essential part is from 1901, right? This is when they started saying dark meat, white meat. But dark meat, white meat popularized 19th century, supposedly as euphemisms for leg and breast, but earlier sources use both terms without apparent embarrassment. All right, so we got the etymology dictionary. Let's go to the lexicon. All right, Genesis 1:29. And since I was reading out of the KJV, let's read the KJV lexicon. All right, and the Most High, Elohim or Elohim, said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree, yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Oh, look at the definitions here. Food, consume, devour, eat, food, meat, okla. Yeah. So even in Revelation, the 22nd chapter, this is the coming kingdom. We're going to have a fruit vegetarian diet. All right, verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations, the herbs and things of that nature, right? No flesh, no animal flesh. All right, so let's get into this presentation, man. All praises be to the Most High. So we in Genesis, the 4th chapter, all right? And we're going to focus on Abel and Cain. So let me highlight these scriptures. All right, we're going to focus on their offerings. Let's read. Genesis chapter 4, verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Verse 3. And in process of time came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Most High. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Most High had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Remember in my introduction, I told you that Cain and Abel roles were switched. They were twisted. Alright? Now we see here in the King James, I just read to you that Abel was a keeper of sheep. Okay? And Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now watch this. Let me prove to you that it was the other way around. Alright? And the Most High did not accept animal sacrifice. It was Satan. Alright, so this is the first reference that I'm going to pull. The books of Adam and Eve. Part of the forgotten books of Eden. Alright? So let me move my screen right here. And let's go to the 77th chapter. All praises be to the Most High. Let's eat. Let's eat. Okay. Chapter 77. Cain, 15 years old, and Abel, 12 years old, grow apart. Okay. Verse 1. But when Adam saw that the older brother hated the younger, he endeavored to soften their hearts and said to Cain, O my son, take of the fruits of your sowing and make an offering to the Most High, so that he might forgive you for your wickedness and sin. He said also to Abel, take some of your sowing and make an offering and bring it to the Most High, so that he might forgive you for your wickedness and sin. Verse 3. Then Abel obeyed his father's voice, took some of his sowing and made a good offering, and said to his father Adam, come with me and show me how to offer it up. Verse 4. And they went, Adam and Eve with him, and they showed him how to offer up his gift on the altar. Then after that, they stood up and prayed that the Most High would accept Abel's offering. Verse 5. Then the Most High looked at Abel and accepted his offering. And the Most High was more pleased with Abel than with his offering, because of his good heart and pure body. There was no trace of guile in him. Verse 6. Then they came down from the altar and went to the cave in which they lived. But Abel, by reason of his joy at having made his offering, repeated it 3 times a week, after the example of his father Adam. We're going to touch on that, but let me finish it out. Verse 7. But as to Cain, he did not want to make an offering, but after his father became very angry, he offered up a gift once. He took the smallest of his sheep for an offering, and when he offered it up, his eyes were on the lamb. Verse 8. Therefore the Most High did not accept his offering, because his heart was full of murderous thoughts. Verse 9. And they all thus lived together in a cave in which Eve had brought forth, until Cain was 15 years old and Abel 12 years old. So we see here in the book of Adam and Eve, we find a story of Cain and Abel's offerings. Adam instructed both of his sons to take something of their sowing and to offer it up to the Most High. Abel did exactly what his father told him to do, but your boy Cain offered a lamb instead. So in Genesis chapter 4, we see that the Most High accepted the offering of Abel and rejected the offering of Cain, and condemned his murderous thoughts. So now when you switch their roles back, you get a better and deeper understanding as to what led up to Cain killing his brother. You understand? Because, like, you know how they say with these psychopaths or these crazy people or whatever, before they can even have the heart to kill another human being, they practice on animals. They be killing animals and slaughtering animals and stuff. You feel me? And that's exactly what Cain did. He slaughtered an animal, and he offered that animal up to the Most High, for sure. Follow me. So let us go back into the book of Adam and Eve for a second, in the 77th chapter, because something stood out to me in verse 6, right? Then they came down from the altar and went to the cave in which they lived. But Abel, by reason of his joy at having made his offering, repeated it 3 times a week, after the example of his father Adam. So hold up. We need to see what this example was that Abel followed. Okay? An even better question would be, what was it exactly that Adam offered up to the Most High? Let's find out. So my next reference would be the Book of Jubilees, translated by R.H. Charles, right? It should be the most accurate translation. And this is a great record right here, by the way. All right, let's see. If I'm not mistaken, let's go to chapter 3. And we're going to search for verse 27 to see what Adam offered up. Oh, I already have it highlighted. So let's eat. Verse 27. And on that day on which Adam went forth from the garden, he offered as a sweet savor or aroma an offering, frankincense, galbanum, stacked, and spices in the morning with the rising of the sun from the day when he covered his shame. Hold up. Adam offered a what? He offered a sweet savor and offering, frankincense, galbanum, and stacked, and spices in the morning. Nah, animal sacrifice. He offered a sweet savor and offering, frankincense, galbanum, and stacked, and spices in the morning. But hold up, you'll have some people to say, well, brother, you got to read the verse that preceded before that. What, verse 26? Let's see. All right, Jubilees chapter 3, verse 26. And he made for them coats of skin and clothed them and sent them forth from the Garden of Eden. Right? So basically, it's just saying the same thing in Genesis 3:21. Let me highlight it. Where it says, unto Adam also and to his wife did the Most High Power make coats of skins and clothe them. Now, you have some people to say, see, the Most High had to kill an animal in order to clothe Adam and Eve. There you go. It's a wrap. The Most High accepts animal sacrifice. The Most High sacrificed animals. He had to do that to clothe them. See, my reply to that would be like Kendrick said, sit down and be humble. Don't get too excited. Now, we're going to deal with this, okay? We're going to deal with it in 3 parts, starting in the book of Adam and Eve in chapter 52. We're going to start at 52 and then we're going to go backwards to chapter 50, all right? So, chapter 52, the title is Adam and Eve Sew the First Shirt, right? So, verse 1. After this, Adam and Eve said no more, but cried before the Most High on account of their creation and of their bodies that required an earthly covering. Then Adam said to Eve, O Eve, this is the skin of beasts with which we shall be covered. But when we put it on, behold, we shall be wearing a token of death on our bodies. Just as the owners of these skins have died and have wasted away. So hold up, let's pay attention now. The owners of these skins have died and have wasted away. Okay? So also shall we die and pass away. Verse 3. Then Adam and Eve took the skins and went back to the cave of treasures, and when in it, they stood and prayed as they were accustomed. Verse 4. And they thought how they could make garments of those skins, for they had no skill for it. So they didn't know how to make clothes. They didn't know how to make it. Verse 5. So the Most High then sent to them his angel to show them how to work it out. And the angel said to Adam, go forth and bring some palm thorns. Then Adam went out and brought some, as the angel had commanded him. Verse 6. Then the angel began before them to work out the skins, after the manner of one who prepares a shirt. And he took the thorns and stuck them into the skins before their eyes. Verse 7. Then the angel again stood up and prayed the Most High that the thorns in those skins should be hidden, so as to be, as it were, sewn with one thread. Verse 8. And so it was. By the Most High's order, they became garments for Adam and Eve, and he clothed them therewith. Verse 9. From that time, the nakedness of their bodies was covered from the sight of each other's eyes. Verse 10. And this happened at the end of the 51st day. Verse 11. Then when Adam's and Eve's bodies were covered, they stood and prayed and sought mercy of the Most High and forgiveness, and gave him thanks for that he had mercy on them and had covered their nakedness. And they ceased not from prayer the whole of that night. Verse 12. Then when the morning dawned at the rising of the sun, they said their prayers after their custom, and then went out of the cave. Verse 13. And Adam said to Eve, since we don't know what there is to the west of this cave, let us go out and see it today. Then they came forth and went toward the western border. So we see in chapter 52 that the Most High sent an angel down to help Adam and Eve make their clothing. All right, let's continue. Let's go to chapter 51. The title is, What is his beauty that you should have followed him? Okay, verse 1. When Adam heard these words from the Most High, he took Eve and went from the northern end of the garden to the south of it, by the river of water where they once fasted. Verse 2, but as they were going on their way, and before they got there, Satan, the wicked one, had heard the word of the Most High communing with Adam respecting his covering. Verse 3, it grieved him, and he hastened to the place where the sheepskins were, with the intention of taking them and throwing them into the sea, or of burning them with fire, so that Adam and Eve would not find them. Verse 4, but as he was about to take them, the word of the Most High came from heaven and bound him by the side of those skins until Adam and Eve came near him. But as they got closer to him, they were afraid of him and of his hideous look. Verse 5, then came the word of the Most High to Adam and Eve and said to them, this is he who was hidden in the serpent and who deceived you and stripped you of the garment of light and glory in which you were. That's that aura that I was talking about on my Facebook page. The energy that surrounded them. Verse 6. This is he who promised you majesty and divinity. Where, then, is the beauty that was on him? Where is his divinity? Where is his light? Where is the glory that rested on him? Verse 7. Now his figure is hideous. He has become abominable among angels, and he has come to be called Satan. Verse 8, O Adam, he wished to take from you this earthly garment of sheepskins and to destroy it and not let you be covered with it. Verse 9, what then is his beauty that you should have followed him? And what have you gained by obeying him? See his evil works, and then look at me, your creator, and at the good deeds I do you. Verse 10, see, I bound him until you came and saw him and beheld his weakness, that no power is left with him. Verse 11, and the Most High released him from his bonds. So here in chapter 51, we see that the skins that the Most High used to cover Adam and Eve were what? Let me get it. Sheep skins. Sheep skins. Okay, so when you look at Leviticus chapter 11, the clean and the unclean animals, if we were to ever come into a situation like this where we had to be clothed, you know, to protect our bodies from the winter or something like, I'm just using that as an example. If we had to get some skins from an animal, it has to be a clean animal. All right. Now let's go to chapter 51. To put the icing on the cake, let's go to chapter 50 and finish this off. All right. Chapter 50. Adam and Eve seek to cover their nakedness. Verse 1. Then Adam and Eve went forth and came into the cave of treasures, and they stood praying in it the whole of that day until the evening. Verse 2. And this took place at the end of the 50 days after they had left the garden. But Adam and Eve rose again and prayed to the Most High in the cave the whole of that night, and begged for mercy from him. Verse 4, and when the day dawned, Adam said to Eve, come, let us go and do some work for our bodies. Verse 5, so they went out of the cave and came to the northern border of the garden, and they looked for something to cover their bodies with, but they found nothing, and knew not how to do the work. Yet their bodies were stained, and they were speechless from cold and heat. Verse 6, then Adam stood and asked the Most High to show him something with which to cover their bodies. Right? Here we go. Verse 7, then came the word of the Most High and said to him, O Adam, take Eve and come to the seashore where you fasted before. There you will find skins of sheep. There you will find skins of sheep that were left after lions ate the carcasses. Take them and make garments for yourselves and clothe yourselves with them. I told you not to get too excited. See, That's what happens when you study. And I give all praises to the Most High. You understand? Look, you have to realize that when Adam fell, the animals fell. The animals turned against each other. The animals also turned against man. It wasn't the Most High who killed that sheep. It was that lion. And the Most High told Adam and Eve, hey, go get the skins of that animal that has died and wasted away and cover yourselves. So he sent an angel down to assist them, to help them, show them how to do it, how to make the clothes. All right? So let's move forward. I was going to wait to go into this next record. I was going to pull it out at the end of this video. But since we're on this topic of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, and the things that they offered up, I felt like it would have been a great idea for me to go into it right now. All right, and pull out the gems. Now, you have a lot of people out there that say that this book is not valid. You have some people that do say it's valid. I think it would be fair if we were to go into the record, read it for ourselves, examine everything in it, see if it lines up with scripture. If it does, it's a go. If it doesn't, throw it out. You understand? So what I'm going to do right now, y'all saw the records I pulled out up until this point. You saw what they said. Now I'm going to go into this record and pull some things out and watch how it lines up with everything that I brought forth so far. All right. One thing I do want to say before we move forward, you have to understand that the 66 books that we have, the Bible is a compilation of records, okay? They took out a lot of records. They took out a lot to confuse us, to have us to go off. You feel me? Give us the wrong understanding on a lot of things. Even with Christ, it wasn't just his name that they took out and they injected the name of their God. That wasn't the only thing. They took out a lot of his teachings also. All right? And you're going to see by going into this record, it lines up with what's being said inside of the scriptures. All right? So we can't ignore that. We have to put everything in perspective. We have to lay it all out and reveal it. So all praises be to the Most High. And there's a scripture that I want to pull too. All right, this is John chapter 21. All right. I'm going to read the very last verse, 25. And there are also many other things which Yeshua did that's not contained within the 66 books that makes up the King James Bible, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. Amen. Right? So that right there should tell you that Christ did many things, which are not contained in the book that we have. You understand? Like I told y'all, they took a lot of his teachings out of the Bible. A lot. And there may be other records out there that has his teachings within them. You understand? But the one that I'm focused on right now is the Essene Gospel. All right? Because what I'm about to read lines up with scripture. Cannot be denied. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's see. Okay. The reference that I'm going to pull now is the Essene Humane Gospel of Christ, the Salvation of the World, Part 2. Okay. We're going to go all the way down to, let's see. Okay. Yeshua upholds the pure oblation and clean diet of man and beast. I would read the whole thing, but I just want to pull something from this, okay? Let's see. Okay, let me make sure I got it. Okay, it says, but ye believe that Moses commanded such creatures to be slain and offered as a sacrifice unto the Most High and eaten. Ye believe wrongly. Ye do not know of temple oblations, for at no time did the true God delight in or demand flesh and blood offerings, but only the pure oblation, the unbloody sacrifice of man's obedience to his holy law. For Abel, no, we was just talking about Abel now. For Abel offered up the grains and fruits of the earth, but the Most High required only Abel's keeping the holy law. For the pure oblation is from the heart of man, that he seeketh after truth and righteousness and pure worship of the eternal all. But I tell ye, Satan, the evil one, maketh the truth a lie. And that's exactly what happened in Genesis chapter 4. He switched the roles of Abel and Cain. All right. And I'm going to show you more scriptures throughout the Bible. He lied. He jacked up a lot of stuff. And I'm going to show you. But let's continue. And giveth to the sons of man flesh and blood, the burnt offering, the unholy law of evildoers, things that my holy Father hateth and abhorreth. Know ye not before ye standeth a one greater than even Moses? Yeah, even the Holy One, who Moses spake of, is here, and restoreth the truth of the law, that El may for a certainty know that the Most High is true, and every man whosoever keepeth not the holy law is a liar. For I tell ye, the holy law of Moses and Adam are one, even as my prophet spake unto Israel. I speak. Now he's talking about Isaiah, Jeremiah. We're going to go into them records too to pull some things out. The holy law changeth not, but evil men speak according to their desires of the flesh, and lust after things unlawful. For of that which ye offer unto the Most High in purity, ye may eat of freely, the fruits and grains. For it is lawful. Remember Genesis 1 and 29 and 30, right? The diet. You know what I'm saying? The diet that he gave man and beast. But of that kind which ye offer not in purity, animals, shall ye not eat. The hour cometh when all sacrifices and blood feasts shall cease, and ye shall again worship the Most High according to the holy law and a pure oblation. Okay, so we still in the essence and humane gospel of Christ, right? This is book 4 that I'm in right now. And I want to bring something out. Okay, here we go. The pure oblation, the salvation of the world. Like I said, I can read all of this, but it's something I want to focus on within this passage. Okay, I found it. Okay, so let's see. It says, and did not Abel know the pure oblation, and was put to death on account for Satan entered into Cain, and bloodshed was manifested in the earth. And man and beast crieth out to the Most High, and the Most High heareth their cries. But I did not recognize Cain's blood offering, nor did the Most High the evil of Satan, but grieved over the evil of mankind, that spread over the land, even as the waters cover the sea basin. For truly I say to you, for this end have I come, Yeshua, into the world, that I may put away all blood offering and eating of flesh. But mankind are wicked, and rejoice in their evils, and change not. For strong is the power of the evil one, and many follow. That's true. Therefore tell ye the meek of the earth, the humble, that they may know truth. In the beginning the Most High gave to all the fruits of the trees, and the seeds, and the herbs for food. When you translate that word food, you get meat. Okay, and we read that in Genesis, the 1st chapter, verse 29 and 30, right? So let me continue. Yeah, to every man and beast, but those who love themselves or their fellows more than the true God did corrupt their ways, and introduced every disease into their bodies. By eating meat. That's why I've been going so hard on my Facebook post, just bringing out the health perspective. You know what I'm saying? By eating meat and what it does to your body, all the diseases that it causes and everything. Listen, this lines up with it. You cannot deny it. You cannot deny it. And filled the earth with lust and violence. It goes on to say, and unto this day, men have changed not. And yeah, the holy law did they indeed corrupt to suit their own evil ways. The corruption of the law. Jeremiah 8:8. But I kept sending them prophets in their midst to restore the law. Jeremiah, Isaiah, Micah, on and on and on. But they added to their evil 100-fold by taking innocent blood upon themselves and their children, yet boasting in their false gods and idols. Moloch, Chayun, you understand? Refine. The list goes on. And sacrificing the innocence of the earth, both man and beast. Boom. So for anybody that's saying that this record is not valid and it doesn't line up with scripture, you got a little bit more studying to do. So while I'm here in the Essene Humane Gospel of Christ, I'm just scrolling or whatever, right? And look, it says Yeshaya condemns animal sacrifice, shows it to be from Satan and not God, right? I would read all of this, but I'm not. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all of this in another video, okay? But I'm going to focus on that title. Yeshaya condemns animal sacrifice, shows it to be from Satan and not God. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the book of Adam and Eve and prove that what he's saying is valid. All right, so we're back in the book of Adam and Eve, right? Chapter 78. And I'm going to prove that what is said here lines up accurately with what Yeshaya said in the book of Essene Gospels. Okay? Let's eat. Let's get some understanding. But check this out, though. It's crazy. Chapter 78. It says, jealousy overcomes Cain. He makes trouble in the family. How the first murder was planned. All right. Then Adam said to Eve, behold, the children are grown up. We must think of finding wives for them. Then Eve answered, how can we do it? Then Adam said to her, we will join Abel's sister in marriage to Cain, and Cain's sister to Abel. Then Eve said to Adam, I do not like Cain, because he is hard-hearted, but let them stay with us until we offer up to the Most High in their behalf. And Adam said no more. Meanwhile, Satan came to Cain in the figure of a man of the field, and said to him, behold, Adam and Eve have taken counsel together about the marriage of you two. And they have agreed to marry Abel's sister to you, and your sister to him. But if it was not that I love you, I would not have told you this thing. Yet if you would take my advice and obey me, I will bring to you on your wedding day beautiful robes, gold and silver in plenty, and my relations will attend you. Then Cain said with joy, where are your relations? And Satan answered, my relations are in a garden in the north, where I once meant to bring your father Adam, but he would not accept my offer. But you, if you receive my words, and if you will come to me after your wedding, you shall rest from the misery in which you are, and you shall rest and be better off than your father Adam. Look at Satan. Boy, I tell you, as a roaring lion. Verse 11. At these words of Satan, Cain opened his ears and leaned towards his speech. And he did not remain in the field, but he went to Eve his mother, and beat her, and cursed her, and said to her, why are you planning to take my sister to wed her to my brother? Am I dead? His mother, however, quieted him, and sent him to the field where he had been. Then when Adam came, she told him of what Cain had done. But Adam grieved and held his peace, and said not a word. Then on the next morning, Adam said to Cain his son, take of your sheep, young and good, and offer them up to your God. hold on. Let me read that one more time. One more time. This is the confirmation, okay? Then on the next morning, Adam said to Cain, his son, take of your sheep, young and good, and offer them up to your God, who spoke to Cain in the field. And I will speak to your brother to make to his God an offering of corn. See, Adam, after knowing this and observing how Cain and Abel was moving, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was like, Cain, you take an animal and bring it to your God, and I'm going to go tell Abel, go get some corn and take it to his God, showing you the differences between the two sacrifices. One God wants a bloody sacrifice, and one God wants a pure sacrifice. And that's the dilemma we have in the Bible. The two sacrifices against each other. You cannot sit here and watch this video and read this with me and then afterwards ignore it. No. Let's build. All right? Verse 17. They both obeyed their father Adam, and they took their offerings and offered them up on the mountain by the altar. But Cain behaved haughtily towards his brother and shoved him from the altar and would not let him offer up his gift on the altar. But he offered his own on it with a proud heart full of guile and fraud. But as for Abel, he set up stones that were near at hand, and on that he offered up his gift with a heart humble and free from guile. Cain was then standing by the altar on which he had offered up this gift, and he cried to the Most High to accept this offering. But the Most High did not accept it from him, neither did a divine fire come down to consume his offering. But he remained standing over against the altar out of humor and meanness, looking towards his brother Abel to see if the Most High would accept his offering or not. Okay, check this out. And Abel prayed to the Most High to accept his offering. Then a divine fire came down and consumed his offering. And the Most High smelled the sweet savor or aroma that came from the fruits and grains. When you cook it, smell good too. You know what I'm saying? And because the Most High was well pleased with him, he sent him an angel of light in the figure of a man who had partaken of his offering, because he had smelled the sweet savor of his offering, and they comforted Abel and strengthened his heart. But Cain was looking on all that took place at his brother's offering and was angry because of it. Then he opened his mouth and blasphemed the Most High, because he had not accepted his offering. But the Most High said to Cain, why do you look sad? Right? So this is the same thing that's being said in Genesis chapter 4, verse 5 or 6, I believe, when the Most High asked Cain, why has your countenance fallen, Cain? Same thing. Why do you look sad? Be righteous, that I may accept your offering. Not against me have you murmured, but against yourself. And the Most High said this to Cain in rebuke, and because he abhorred him and his offering. And Cain came down from the altar, his color changed, and with a sad face, and came to his father and mother and told them all that had befallen him. And Adam grieved much because the Most High had not accepted Cain's offering. We're going to touch on that word grieve too. But Abel came down rejoicing and with a gladsome heart, and told his father and mother how the Most High had accepted his offering. And they rejoiced at it and kissed his face. And Abel said to his father, because Cain shoved me from the altar and would not allow me to offer my gift on it, I made an altar for myself and offered my gift on it. But when Adam heard this, he was very sorry, because it was the altar he had built at first, and on which he had offered his own gifts, frankincense, galbanum, stacked, okay, the herbs and spices. As to Cain, he was so resentful and so angry that he went into the field, where Satan came to him and said to him, since your brother Abel has taken refuge with your father Adam, because you shoved him from the altar, they have kissed his face, and they rejoiced over him. far more than over you. When Cain heard these words of Satan, he was filled with rage, and he let no one know, but he was laying wait to kill his brother, until he brought him into the cave and then said to him, watch how slick he was. And you gotta think about it too. Cain was 15, 16 years old. Abel was like 11 or 12. So of course, he's naive. He's young. He's willing to get into anything, so check this out. Oh, brother, the country is so beautiful. There are such beautiful and pleasurable trees in it and charming to look at. But brother, you have never been one day in the field to take your pleasure in that place. Today, oh my brother, I very much wish you would come with me into the field to enjoy yourself and to bless our fields and our flocks. For you are righteous and I love you much, oh my brother. But you have alienated yourself from me. Then Abel consented to go with his brother Cain into the field. But before going out, Cain said to Abel, wait for me until I fetch a staff because of wild beasts. Right? Those lions out there. Then Abel stood waiting in his innocence. But Cain, the forward, fetched a staff and went out. And they began, Cain and his brother Abel, to walk in the way, Cain talking to him and comforting him to make him forget everything. Now I could finish reading it to show you what happened, It goes into great detail, but you already know what happened. So let's move forward. So we see that what Christ said lines directly up with what's being said in the book of Adam and Eve and Jubilees. All right. Okay, so this next record that I'm going to go into is called Clementine Homilies. All right. Homilies means lessons. All right. I'm going to go into a little bit of the information that I dug up. I'm going to give you the backdrop on Clement. All right. So early church history. Clement was the founder of the church after Peter. Peter appointed him to rule the church after him. He was the earliest church founder, and his records are in all the early churches. His records are even found in the Ethiopian Bible, which some believe to be one of the oldest Bibles. So they knew Clement, or was aware of his teachings. What the Romans did was take Clement records out of the scriptures, New Testament, because his records were basically like the book of Enoch. And we know how serious Enoch was. All right, revealing certain things like fallen angels, the giants and demons, and goes into great detail about the connection that the eating of flesh has with them. So a lot of people may ask, like, who is Clement? Man, this man going into all of these records talking about Clement now. Who is Clement? Never heard of Clement. I never heard of him either until I started researching. But yeah, he's written of in the scripture too. So like the Bible say, prove all things. Let's get it. Okay, so we are in Philippians chapter 4 verse 3. Proving all things. And I entreat thee also, true yoke fellow, help those women which labored with me in the gospel, with Clement also. Hold on, let me read that one more time. With Clement also, there you have it, and with other my fellow laborers, whose names are in the book of life. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this record to show and prove where he points out that Adam and his son Abel could not have possibly sacrificed animals to the Most High. All right, let me move this up real quick. Okay, so we are in the Clementine Homilies, right? Book 3, chapter 26, Abel's name and nature. Check this out. But he who amongst the sons of men had prophecy innate to his soul as belonging to it, expressly as being a male, indicating the hopes of the world to come, called his own son Abel, which without any ambiguity is translated grief. Remember I said that in the book of Adam and Eve. For he assigns to his sons to grieve over their deceived brethren. He does not deceive them when he promises them comfort in the world to come. When he says that we must pray to one only power, God, he neither himself speaks of gods, plural, nor does he believe another who speaks of them. He keeps the good which he has and increases more and more. Check this out. He hates sacrifices, bloodshed, and libations. He loves the chaste, the pure, the holy. He quenches the fire of altars, represses wars, teaches pious preachers wisdom, purges sin, sanctions marriage, approves temperance, leads all to chastity, makes men liberal, prescribes justice, seals those of them who are perfect, publishes the word of peace, prophesies explicitly, speaks decidedly, frequently makes mention of the eternal fire of punishment, hell, Sheol, Hades, whatever you want to call it, constantly announces the kingdom of the Most High, indicates heavenly riches, promises unfading glory, shows the remission of sins by works. Alright? Since Clement says that Adam hates bloody sacrifices and libations, that is, wine offerings, it is obvious then that he, being a true prophet, would not offer the same. It logically follows that Abel would not do so either, since it is testified that he was righteous and, in fact, followed the example of his father. But check this, even in Hebrews the 11th chapter, it strongly implies that the text that we find within the Essene Gospel is and must be correct and true. Alright, this is Hebrews chapter 11 verse 4. By faith Abel offered unto the Most High a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, the Most High testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. Alright, so before we move on to the law, I want to touch on this last thing dealing with Cain and Abel. Alright, I was going through my computer and I looked through my notes and I forgot that I even put this information together. But I'm gonna read it and then we're gonna move forward. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up with Cain and Abel, then move forward. So it says, the Interlinear Greek English New Testament by Dr. George Rickard Berry reads, by faith Abel a more excellent sacrifice than Cain offered to the Most High, by which he was borne witness to by being righteous, the Most High bearing witness to his gifts, and through it, having died, yet speaks. We know we just read that. So he says, the Most High rejected Cain's gift and approved of Abel's gifts, plural, because this kind of sacrifice or offering was righteous. The Greek word for dikaios, implies justice and that what is morally right, as can be ascertained from virtually all Greek English lexicons and dictionaries. Because Abel's gifts, plural, represented what is just and ethical, the Most High accepted it and declared Abel to be right and just. On the other hand, the Most High rejected Cain's gift because it was representing bloodshed, death, and ultimately what is morally wrong and unjust. Abel's gifts were indeed nobler and by far more excellent than Cain's gift, which demanded bloodshed and great suffering to one of the Most High's innocent creatures. That the story of Genesis 4 is reversed by the lying pen of the scribes is evident from the fact that Abel offered gifts. The plural Greek word is used in Hebrews 11:4 and refers to various fruits of the ground which Abel offered. In contrast, Cain offered one kind of gift, the fat portions of the firstborn. If Abel killed the animal and presented it as sacrifice, as the lying pen of the scribes insinuates, how then could the author of Hebrews argue that his sacrifice is morally and ethically better than his brother's bloodless sacrifice? So, is it morally right and just to slash the throat of an animal? Is it just and humane to subject an animal to terror, pain, and great suffering? How would you like if someone subjected you to pain and suffering? How would you feel if you were locked up awaiting the butcher's knife? That's what you got to ask yourself. It goes on to say that James the just and those who were led by the 12 and the elders also believed only in the pure oblation and would not offer blood sacrifices. The Ebionites possessed a book called the Ascents of James, where it was said that James spoke against the bloody sacrificial cultists of the temple and against those who killed animals in order to eat their flesh. I don't know that to be true or not, but as always, we can examine everything, research it, see if it lines up with scripture, and go from there. But anywho, if James spoke against the temple and bloody sacrifices and condemned those who ate flesh, naturally then he would not participate in the bloody sacrificial cultus. The church fathers unanimously testify that James from his birth never tasted animal flesh. Again, I don't know if that's true or not. But the book of Acts clearly shows that there were 4 Essene Nazarene Ebionite brothers who renewed their Nazarite vow, since they had to shave their head. According to the Jewish Pentateuch, however you pronounce that, the renewal of the vow and even the original making of the Nazarite vow demanded an animal sacrifice. Acts chapter 21 verse 26 speaks of an offering which was to be presented by the priest on behalf of all of them. It is of great significance for you to realize that this word offering is translated from the Greek word prosphora, which always implies an oblation and therefore a bloodless sacrifice. The word is number 4376 in Strong's, where it is thus defined: presentation, an oblation, a bloodless sacrifice. A critical lexicon and concordance to the English and Greek New Testament by the scholar Ethelbert Bellinger on page 548 thus defines the word prosphora: an offering, oblation, strictly without blood, opposite to thessia, sacrifice, and holocaustoma, burnt offering. So we're going to go into the lexicon to see if what they're saying about the word offering is true. All right. What would he say? 4, 3, 6, I believe. Okay, an offering. Okay, prosphora. Short definition: an offering, sacrifice, right? So we're going to go down to Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. It says offering up, presentation, an oblation, bloodless, parentheses, bloodless, or sacrifice, offering up.